Hi everyone, welcome back to the Medical Writing Insider series. Today we have another guest with us, and she is Shelly Arora. So I'll just introduce Shelly for all of us. Shelly has been in the field for over 20 years, 2 decades now, and her core experience lies in medical communications and scientific content development. She is into medical affairs currently, and she has worked with organizations like Immunotherapeutics, Tyracos, Indigene, WNS, and Knowledge Isotopes. She is also an independent consultant, trainer, and a coach to early career medical writers and industry experts. A warm welcome, Shelley, to our series.
Thank you, Dr. Shdabdi. Thank you so much for this warm welcome and for this nice words of introduction for me. Okay, so I'm very much delighted to be part of this podcast series, and I would really love to share my personal experiences that have helped me to shape my career growth. And I hope this conversation will also help to, and encourage other healthcare professionals. And my practical insights would really help them to build their career.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
we can
So let's
begin.
begin. Yes.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So, Shelly, first tell me a little bit about how you started your journey because I know it's been a long time. So, where was your
Okay.
academics in and how you got into
Hmm.
this field?
Okay. 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 I am pharma post graduation in a pharmacy. So I passed out in 2006. And during that time, generally, for especially for the girl students, majority of them have an option in lecturership. So I was little different from them. I never wanted to do lecturership. I wanted to be in an industry. So my first industry where I could get the opportunity was into regulatory affairs. I started my career with a very, established company, but the unit where I worked, that was the growing up unit, a budding company in Swift Limited. And there I, worked in a drug regulatory affairs department. Because it was a very small unit, I got an opportunity to work with every kind of department. And when you are into RA, you need to interact with the production department, with quality insurance department, with quality control department. So that opportunity gave me a complete, idea from the scratch till the execution of the documents. So the first industry that I joined, that give me an opportunity to understand the documentation, compilation, and compliance, accuracy, these kind of things. And there my Bible was ICH guidelines. Then I thought that this science is not beyond just documentation. So medicine needs something beyond approvals. So I went to secondary business research. I joined my another organization, WNS, where I got a chance to understand the market analysis. So that was about the competitive intelligence, pharmaceutical analysis of the companies, their product development. I completely understood the product life cycle, starting from the clinical trials to the marketing of the product, and also the uh, insights of the company, their annual reports, and all those things, which are literally, I mean, say they are quite different from what we did in our academic things. So industry is always different, what we
Mm.
do in our academics. So there I spent about 8 years, and during that tenure, I mentored my colleagues. I was into the department where I used to train the beginners. So at that time, it was not an era of AI also. So everything we were doing on our own. It was like the process was new. So we developed the SOPs, we developed the protocols, and I think I gave a lot of contribution in doing that.
Yes,
And it was a very good learning from the
yes,
scratch.
absolutely,
That built up
absolutely.
my confidence. And then due to some personal reasons, I
Mm.
was shifted to another area in Chandigarh, and
Yeah.
there I started my journey into medcom from
Yes,
knowledge isotopes. And at
yes.
that time, again, it was again a challenge for me, because medical communication, medical writing was never my field. Earlier I did regulatory affairs, and then I moved to the market analysis, and now there was a new move to medical communication. Yes, it
Mm.
was a challenge, but I would always say, if you have a pharma background or a medical background, and you can
Mm.
understand the science very well, then there is no difficulty if you are even going into a new field. Only thing is that you should be curious. You should have that learning ability to understand the things. You should be inquisitive to know more and more, because
Yes.
knowledge always opens the door. and
Yes,
curiosity keeps
absolutely.
it open. And curiosity keeps
Yes,
it open. So
yes.
you should have that kind of mindset that I am here, not to say like this, ki, can I learn, can I do this? You should have an attitude. What should I learn to understand this? So in
Mm.
knowledge isotopes as well, when I came, it was very difficult for me because I had been appointed as a senior position. But being senior, I was not knowing anything about medical writing. I was only able to manage the team management.
Yeah.
These skills were with me. But yes, if you want to mentor your colleagues, you
Mm.
also should have the same, similar knowledge. So I learned
Yes.
from my juniors, and within 3 months, I was able to grasp the things. I was exposed to the different kind of documents,
Yeah.
and knowledge isotopes really give me a very good exposure to
Mm.
understand every domain: publication writing, clinical writing. We also conducted so many advisory board meetings, so that was also an opportunity for me to meet
Mm.
the doctors in person, and could organize the advisory board meetings and attend those things and prepare the documents. So
Wow.
gradually, eventually, I kept on learning and learning. I spent there about 8 to 10 years, and it was a very beautiful experience. And I would say today, medical writing is my strength, is my core strength. That are my roots. But side by side, I kept on, exploring another horizons also,
Mm.
the adjacent things like regulatory writing. And then now I'm moved to medical affairs also. So currently
Mm.
I'm working with an organization which is on working on CAR T therapies. And here I'm working as a MSL specialist, and my role is into KOL engagement. So the
Okay.
dimensions in my journey,
So
there are
diverse.
always new
Yes.
dimensions, but with new learnings. So that is
Absolutely.
the way
Absolutely.
my journey is
So,
very,
yes.
versatile.
Yes, and I love two things, particularly two things about your journey. The first thing is you never really stopped. Even when you
Yes,
moved
it was a
cities,
continuous journey.
yes, even when you moved cities, you have had some personal, limitations, but still you continued. That was the first thing that I loved about your career. And the second thing is that you never, feared away from taking different kind of roles. Maybe it was new to you, but you always, upskilled yourself, you understood, you learned, and you grew into it, which so many of us, very honestly speaking, we after a point of time in our careers we stop doing, right? But I think this
Yes.
should be a continuous thing and we all should keep learning, which is not so easy to do as it is easy to say, but I'm so happy that you have done it throughout your career, Shelly.
Yeah, thanks. So every, this transition is not a career shift, but I would say it was adding
Mm.
a new layer of understanding the medicine. So now when
Yes,
I talk to my KOLs, my perspective is not only the publication writing. My perspective
yes,
is changed with that what are the regulatory requirements, what are the commercial realities, and the
yes.
the major one is what is the patient outcome now. So the
Mm.
perspective kept on changing with the growth, with the change of this
Absolutely.
skill. So this is the advantage of working in multi
Different. Yeah, yeah.
yeah section
Yes,
multiple domains. So that
yes,
is an
yes.
advantage.
So your perspective is kind of, it has widened and you can understand from the different angles, which when we work across a particular domain, we cannot, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Shelley, yeah.
That's true.
So Shelley, do you think that, like you said, each layer has added a different perspective to your work, to the way you think, right? To the way you work.
Yeah.
So do you think early career medical writers or medical communicators who are starting off, they can explore different or multiple domains going ahead and not stick to one domain? How would you suggest? What would you suggest for them?
Well, for the beginners, I would suggest that they should not change the jobs frequently, very frequently. First of all, for the first 2, 3 years, they should build a strong foundation. In whatever domain they are, be it medical writing or clinical writing, for the first 2, 3 years, they should spend in thorough learning. They should be clear in their scientific fundamentals. And after that, when they are having a full command on their subject, they are the SMEs, subject matter experts, then they should touch the adjacent horizons to
Yes.
expand their profile. That
Hmm.
I would say they must do. What we say, like, depth first and breadth later.
Yeah, absolutely,
That is the
absolutely.
principle they should follow. First of all, they
Yes.
should deeply dive into the
Hmm.
subject when they're
Yes.
fully strongly built up their foundation in that,
Mm.
then only they
Mm.
should touch the other
Then they do
areas. And
explore.
definitely,
Yes.
yeah, then
Mm.
their previous experience would help them to understand the new area as well. Their
Absolutely.
learning will help.
Absolutely. So it's kind of
Yeah.
stacking up your skills and stacking up your
Yes,
experience, right?
stepwise approach should be there.
Yes.
In my
Yes.
case, it was like I by chance I got an opportunity, and definitely again I would
Mm.
say that that zeal, that curiosity should always be kept on. Momentum should not be
Yes.
down. Only
Yes.
then you can
Yes.
learn the new skills. That is very
True.
important.
True. True. Yes. So I think I was going to ask you this question, that what is that one skill that really helped you, work across this multiple domains and never really stop? But I think you have already answered that. I think passion and curiosity. That is
Yeah,
the first
yeah.
thing that you should
Passion,
have. Anything?
curiosity,
Yes.
learning agility, that is very important. If you
Yes.
are, your
Yes.
attitude matters a lot. Your training skills can be trained. Your scientific skills, you can be trained on that. But if you
Mm.
don't have learning attitude, you really cannot grow. That is
Yes.
very important.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Shelly, with that, let's move to the next question that I have for you. So, for a person who is a new medical writer and they don't know much about the field, right? So, how can a career trajectory look like for them? Because you have started in one position and then you have led teams. You have been in, managerial kind of posts also, and you have been on the hiring end also. So, how can a career for a medical writer, new medical writer, look like going ahead? The ladder, how can the ladder look like?
The ladder is, I
Yes,
would
Shelly.
say, it is
Yes.
not like if you ask me about the departments in pharmaceutical in an industry work, if you want to do, then
Yes.
regulatory affairs is the first department, okay, which you would say that it's a white collar job. If you're really interested to work in a lab, you should choose the production department or the QC department, QA department, where also documentation work is there. But
Hmm.
RA is the topmost industry, where you can learn a lot and you can excel very well. After 10-15 years, you will be at a very good position if you choose
Hmm.
RA. But if you are coming into a medical writing, then publication writing, I would say, that is the basic domain that everyone should know. Clinical writing, regulatory writing are the further, you can say, sister concerns of those writing things. But publication writing is the main part, where you understand the concepts of publication writing. And here, like in regulatory QA, you are following the ICH guidelines. Here you follow the
Hmm.
ICGME are your Bible. So you should be thorough with those things, with the guidelines and the literature search and all. If you are done with these things, then you can move into the another department like HEOR, pharmacovigilance,
Hmm.
and MA. MA would be the
Hmm.
last, I would say, medical
Hmm.
affairs.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
this is the hierarchy, but I feel that one should, if someone wants to explore their career in different domains, so they should
Yes.
start with this. If they want
Yes.
to come into medical writing, first start with the publication writing and
Okay.
then go to clinical writing. But if only
Okay.
regulatory affairs, if you want, there only you can build up a new career, a good career.
Yes. Yes. Exclusively
Yeah.
in regulatory affairs.
Yeah, exclusively in regulatory affairs. But if you
Hmm.
want to come into MedCom, start with publication writing,
Yes. Start with
because that
publication,
that
right?
have the, yeah. Then and
Absolutely.
publication writing and scientific writing, medical writing also are two different concepts. In medical
Yes.
writing, you work on the different kind of educational materials and all. Medico
Yes.
marketing is a different segment. So itself,
Yes.
medcom is a big umbrella where there are
Yeah.
so many opportunities. And when you are
Yes.
working in an organization, might be you might get these kind of opportunities, that you are not working
Yes.
only on to the similar kind of
Yes.
documents. Maybe you get
Yes.
opportunities to work on medico
Yes.
marketing documents. So I was fortunate that I got an opportunity to work on all these kind of documents.
Wow.
And
Absolutely.
being into medical communication, if your company give you an opportunity for traveling also, never be reluctant for that. Be open
Yes.
for that,
Yes.
because that will only give you a good growth.
Good growth. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, Shelly, now because you have been on the hiring end also, you have
Yeah.
kind of, right? So, I want to more insights. I want more insights on what is the one mistake that you would say medical writers do in interviews or writing assignments that you see commonly and you would absolutely suggest them to avoid it?
Okay, so here I would like to quote some of my personal experiences. Like,
Okay.
see, whenever we start with the recruitment process, there's first of all, there is
Yes.
a resume screening. So
Yes.
your resume should be perfect. So what
Mm.
happens, like when we ask people to send their resume, first thing, the first mistake that generally beginners do, that they do not name their resume properly. Suppose my name is Shelly
Okay.
Arora, then in
Mm.
parenthesis, if I am a beginner, fresher, then
Yes.
you should write your qualification M Farm. If you
Okay.
have some
Mm.
experience, so at least you should add your one or two keywords of your core expertise, like medical affairs or medical writing, that kind of thing. But few beginners, what they do, they don't even write their name properly, just they mention resume, biodata, as if you are going to read a matrimonial biodata. So that thing is very important, how the way you are, presenting. First impression is the last impression. Then you
Yes.
open the resume, then it should be complete. It should have your complete qualification from where you have done. If it is for a fresher resume, it varies if it is
Yes.
for a, for a experienced one or for a
Huh.
freshers one. So
Huh.
nowadays ATS is a tool which you can
Mm.
use
Mm.
and
Mm.
can, format your resume accordingly. And
Yes.
always the resume should be crisp. And whenever
Okay.
you are adding, whenever you are sending a resume, it should have a cover letter where you can brief yourself.
Okay.
It is very
Okay.
important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that
It is
cover
very
letter should be
important.
tailored. Yeah, should be
Huh.
tailored to why that industry will
Yeah.
take me for that
Yeah.
position, right? What
Yeah,
are my
exactly.
unique
And
skill
when you are
sets, right?
and when you are applying for any organization, you should do your little homework. You must read about the organization. You should
Ah,
go to the website and read that what kind
mm.
of therapy area, where it is
Work
working,
upon.
which is
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
domain, where it is
Mm.
located. Are they providing remote or hybrid
Mm.
model? So these things should
Mm.
be clear to you earlier. HR people will definitely tell you about this, but already you should do some kind of homework. It will
Yes.
always
Okay.
help you while appearing
No.
in your interview. And
Yes.
another important thing is, like, be ready, because it is about the medical communication if you are applying. So
Mm.
your searching skills should be good.
Okay.
That is
Mm.
very
Mm.
important.
Mm.
Searching skills. So in
Yes.
this recruitment process, I always start first of all resume screening, and then a small introductory round. That is generally a telephonic round. And then if the person sounds me okay, that I
Mm.
can start with the another round, then I give a written assessment, a
Acha.
technical
Okay.
round.
Mm.
uh,
Mm.
Technical round could be like, because if it is a medical writing profession, then
Huh.
definitely I would provide any, clinical study report to write an abstract from that. And nowadays it is very important that a person who is coming into this field must be creative and innovative. So I always give one figure or table to prepare on his own
Mm. Mm.
from that clinical study report, so
Mm.
that I can
Mm.
have an idea how innovative or creative he or she is, and he can
Mm. Mm.
interpret the data. So data
Yes.
interpretation should be one point that he or she
Mm.
should have.
Mm.
So that is very important. So these are the things I would say that one should consider before applying for any,
Mm.
any
Mm.
organization or preparing for any interview. And be confident, and should be curious and have a learning attitude again, I would say. And yes, very
Yes.
important thing that beginners should be more interested in learning, in spite of instead of
Earning.
earning. Yeah, learning and earning go hand in hand, but
Go
learning is
hand
very
in hand.
important, especially for the
Yes.
first 2, 3 years.
Yes.
Yeah,
True. True. True.
yeah,
Because also I think that sets the field for you going ahead, right? How far you will
yeah,
go. That
yeah, yeah.
first 3, 5 years,
Yeah. So
they build
sometimes,
that
what
base for you.
happens, like I'm taking an introductory round and I'm explaining
Yeah.
the job description. JD we always provide. It's just especially,
Huh.
I mean, in the first advertisement, then we post, we describe the JD. So that is very important. So JD, one job I'm going to apply. So that is very
Yeah.
important.
Yes. Shelly, I think we have some issues with the network. Can you hear
So
me?
it is candidate. I can hear you, but I think our photographs,
I
our
think your
images are
screen
stuck.
has frozen.
Yeah. It is
Yeah,
frozen.
yeah, you are
Is
back.
that
You are
okay
back.
now?
Yes, yes. So, Shelly, I could not hear that last answer you said. Can you please again? I think our audience will also
I
not
said
be
that
able to. Yeah.
I
Hmm.
said the job description, the person should be thorough with the job description.
Okay.
Because when you are applying for an interview, every organization, they give their JD. So it
ठीक
is
है.
important if you
Hmm.
go through that JD, you should be clear
Hmm.
that these are the questions, these are the things which I am going to do. So
Hmm.
you should be
Hmm.
clear about that. Questions might be from that. And in your technical rounds, you should never ask about the salary package. That is a HR round, especially
That
if
is
you are a
HR.
beginner.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
it
Also,
shows how curious.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, Shelly, please go ahead.
yeah. It gives you idea about your attitude. Do you have a learning attitude, or
Ah,
you just want to make the money?
yeah, true. So,
That is also,
Shelly, do you,
important.
yes, yes. So, do you think that, like you said, the job from the job description, we can have an idea of the different kind of questions that might be asked, right, in the interview rounds?
Yeah,
Also,
yeah,
how important is
yeah.
it to tailor the resume according to the job description?
Yes, you can tailor your resume as per the job description. If
Okay.
there it is mentioned that you should be familiar with the ICGME guidelines or ICH guidelines, definitely you can use these
Mm.
keywords and you can add it into your resume that what are the guidelines you are familiar with,
Mm.
what kind of
Mm.
soft skills you have, what kind of softwares you
Yes.
know. And especially if you are going to, they have asked you that you should have some knowledge of stats. If you have that knowledge, you can add that and you can give your if you have qualified for any certificate programs, you can mention those also.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I
Absolutely.
think for every interview, especially in the big for the beginners, they must tailor their resume as per the JD. There are
Mm.
more
Yes.
chances. There are more chances to get hired.
Yes, yes. And also, Shelly, since you have been on the hiring end, I am now very interested to ask you, like, so we hear about this ATS-friendly resumes, right? So that is the first pass that the resumes will have to go through even
Mhm.
before the, recruiter gets the resume in their hands. So what is this ATS-friendly resume? How
Yes.
can beginners, make sure that they make their resume ATS-friendly? Is there any tip and trick that you can share with us?
It's, I would say ATS friendly resume. It merely means about the length of the resume and the keywords that have been chosen. What are the titles and subtitles of the resume? So even if you
Mm.
are not making a ATS friendly resume, at least you will mention about your qualification, about your core expertise. It is very important. This tab should not be forgotten. This tab should
Okay.
always be there. And if you
Okay.
have changed your organization, keep it in a chronological order, the recent one on the top and later then which organizations you joined. And even if you're not explaining your role and responsibilities in a paragraph, just give one or two line.
Yes.
And in
Okay.
and in the contact and in the contact details, do not give your full address. Only mention about your email ID and phone number.
Okay.
There is no need
Email
to
ID
give
and
your
phone
full
number.
address. And
Okay.
even the
And
I
is
would say for
hmm,
and your
yes, Shil.
profile pic also
Hmm.
for the beginners, it is not required because
Okay.
that is not going to judge your personality. Nowadays, we
Yes.
always conduct virtual interviews. So from there only we can judge your body language
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
that will serve the purpose. So there is no need to
Hmm.
give the image also. And
Image.
always
Hmm.
give your PDF version of your resume. Sometimes people give word format. That is not correct. That is
Yes.
not
Yes. True.
right thing to do.
Yes, yes, true.
Um,
Okay. So we have got some very interesting insights, which only because you have been on the hiring end, we could learn. So one is, if you have multiple experiences, use the chronological order. The length is important, keywords are important, but core experience, at least 2 to 3 sentences about your core experience, very important, right? Okay. So, Shelly, now I would like to ask, so what is that one skill that you think a new medical writer, early career medical writer, they need to start building right now so that they can create a long-term sustainable career going ahead?
Start reading. Be
Start
patient.
reading.
Start
Yes,
reading because
absolutely.
in our profession it is required. Nowadays there are
Yes.
many AI tools which can give you the gist of the paper. Perplexity is there.
Yes.
There are so many tools
So
which
many.
can give you the gist of the paper.
Mm,
But you
mm,
should have the that capacity to read the paper throughout. Because in earlier time, what we used to do, suppose I have to prepare a manuscript, my manager used to tell me that, Shelly, you have to research at least 50 papers if you are going to prepare this manuscript. But out of those, 4 or 5 would be the key papers.
yeah.
So our task was very much difficult, yeah, challenging.
Mm,
But nowadays, with the
mm,
help of these AI tools like Notepad LM, you can make your research
mm, mm,
very easy,
mm. Yes.
and I mean, it is not that time consuming, but still
Yes.
you have to read at least those key papers where you can, see the pattern, how you are going to apply in your paper, in your research.
Ah.
So one
Hmm.
should not be dependent on the AI tools. They are working as our assistants. But again,
Yes.
originality is there. This human work, this human uniqueness, nobody can, take from us. So you should be
Absolutely.
original in your writing. Use the AI
Yes.
tools. So you should have the, ability to read the things, learn the things. That is very
Yes.
important. Literature search, I think that is the prime thing that you need to do if you want to be into medical writing.
Hmm.
And of course, writing skills are required. More writing, more lesser than verbal. But when you are facing the clients, then verbal communication skills are equally important.
Equally
So both things
important.
should be learned. And in
Yes.
medical writing, there is no need to, go for a very high vocabulary. We always say
Ah.
that your manuscript should be of jargon free. So here you can use the simple language, of course, because what medical writing means that we are, transforming the complex writing into the simple one. So you should be
Ah.
simple
True.
in your writing, but it should convey the clear message
Message.
to your
Ah.
audience.
Ah.
Clear message
Hmm.
to your audience. So that is
Yes.
the thing that one must, consider while writing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. And you also said we need to be more patient with how we are,
Yes, yes.
moving ahead, right?
Patient in the sense because writing is one part. Then when you are going to submit the manuscript, review process, so it takes a complete period. Sometimes there are
Yes.
rejections also. You will be
Yes.
disappointed. And then again, you have to resubmit the manuscript. Again, you have to resubmit the manuscript.
Yes.
So the
Yes.
process is vicious cycle, I would say. So one has to be patient. You have the
Yes.
rejections are there. So you have to face
Yes.
those things. And with these things
Absolutely.
only you will learn. Timelines are like
Absolutely.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
it is
Yes.
not like the product is today manufactured, it is delivered by the next month. It is not like that. Medical
No.
writing is completely a different thing.
Yes. It's a kind of art and skill that we develop over
Yeah,
the
yeah,
years,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes. True.
starting and execution may take time. It is a time
Yes.
consuming process.
Time consuming.
Yeah.
Yes.
And at
True.
one
True.
time you are doing multitasking work. Right now you are working on one project. Your draft is ready. Then you get another project. So you should have that, capacity of multitasking also. That
Yes.
skill you have to attain while practicing. You attain these kind of
Yes. You learn on the
skills.
job.
Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
learn on the job.
Yes. Yes. True.
Yeah.
So, Shelly, with that, we have one closing question. So, what is the one message that you would want to convey to early career medical writers or medical communicators in general who are watching this episode?
Well, in our this insightful discussion, I have already given so many messages, but still, I would say if you
Yeah.
want to start your career into medcom, first of all, you should have the learning ability. Because again, I would say that scientific skills can be trained later on when you have
Mhm.
started working. Learning ability is very important. Be curious, always ask questions, because science says what happened, why happened, how happened. These
Mhm.
three, four questions will always be there in your writing also. And if you have
Yes.
that kind of attitude, it will reflect in your writing.
Yes. True.
Okay. And from earning perspective, keep it later. First of all, you should learn. Again, I would say
Yes.
depth, depth first, and then breadth come
Breadth
later.
first, later.
So
Yes.
yeah, 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 yeah. So you will keep on, expanding your horizons, but first build up your foundation in one domain and then move further.
Yes. True. True.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, thank you, Shelly, for all those beautiful insights that you have shared because you have been on multiple domains and for over 2 years and like 2 decades, not sorry, not 2 years, 2 decades into this field. So your experience is very unique. You bring a very unique, set of experiences for our audiences. And thank you so much for sharing them with us so openly. And for all of you who are watching this, if you want to connect with Shelly, I will share her LinkedIn profile in the description box for all of you. And thank you once again, Shelly.
Thank you, Dr. Shtabdi. It was really a
Yes,
very nice experience to
me
interact
too.
with you
You,
and with the
yes,
audience. Same here,
absolutely.
same here.
Me too.
Thank
You are
you.
most
Thank you.
welcome. And till we connect next time, please watch our episodes of the Medical Writing Insider series, and you can also connect with Shelly. Till then, take care, guys, and bye.
Bye.